Shalom, Israel. First off, I just want to give all praises to Yahweh,
Yahweh Shah.
Want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and just want to say peace and blessings to the sincere Akim that's pushing the word, enduring all these afflictions, being hated, for calling on the name of Yahweh Shah. I just wanted to go into an account in the book of Daniel, of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, where basically it was a point where they were tried by the Lord, and just for them basically standing up, having the integrity to say that they weren't going to worship those Babylonian gods, and then just ultimately trust in the will of the Most High, they were delivered out of that fiery trial. And that account can be used for brothers, that's in the faith pushing His word, man. The fiery trial that we go through, as far as making our bodies a living sacrifice, going out and preaching, living this life, in the world that we live in that's upside down, we're basically trying to be righteous men. So we already know we're going to catch all types of hell and affliction, but I guess the key point that I want to prove is that brothers that trust in the Lord until the end and just fight to do what's right and have that integrity, that deliverance going to come in the end, no matter how deathly it seems, if we just stand firm. So you got it?
Okay. So Daniel chapter 3 verse 15. Now if you be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet.
Can you start at 14, Salaki?
Okay. Verse 14. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up?
That's right, and it's the same thing with these elites, man, that are running the modern day Babylon. The Edomites, man, they basically set up a system to where they're trying to bring in a new world order, and that's why they hate the Israelites, especially the Israelites that are coming under the correct doctrine, because basically we're not going to worship the image of the beast. Basically the idea of this whole system, man. We understand the power that we worship, and we worship Yahweh Shah, that entity and energy only. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
The scripture say that there's no new thing under the sun.
That's right.
So that's the same thing is going to happen when you read Matthew the 10th chapter. How we're going to be brought in front of the governors and judges. Okay, they're going to do that when those terrorist attacks really start happening, those false flag attacks, and they really start blaming on us, man. They're gonna try to bring us some and to make inquisition of us, man. That's why our Lord said, don't worry about what you're gonna speak, but in the hour the Heavenly Father's gonna give you the words to speak. So the same thing's gonna happen at that time. They're gonna ask, you preaching about America? Do you hate white people? Blah blah blah. So they're gonna do the same thing, man.
They're gonna basically try to test our loyalty to this place, man. Which we say, man, of course we gotta be wise because we in Babylon. But at the end of the day, we don't worship anything in this place, man. We do what we got to do to get our daily bread and to operate and to be able to function more to push the truth. But at the end of the day, we know the power that we worship, man. And we don't worship the power of Satan, because that's who's ruling the world right now, just like in this account. Right. You know what I'm saying? They have the power over us in every way. But out of that trust and faith in our power, we're not going to succumb to basically just bowing down and selling out. You know what I'm saying, to the image or to just the idolatry that's before us, you know what I'm saying?
That's right. We render to Caesar what is Caesar's, and render to Yahweh Shah what belongs to Yahweh Shah. Right. Verse 15. Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands?
That's right. So basically, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they was given a damn ultimatum, man. Basically tempting the Lord, which it tells you in, I think it's Matthew the 4th chapter. It says, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy power. It was an account in Matthew 4 where Satan tried to tempt Yahweh Shah. You know what I'm saying? Basically, okay, if you don't worship our gods, that's the ultimatum. We're going to cast you into a fiery furnace, and then we're going to see if your God going to deliver you. You know what I'm saying? The God, and that's what these people think right now in America, because brothers go out on the highways and the byways, and we come in that bold spirit, you know what I'm saying, with that authority that we speak in, out of all the faith and our power, and people, they want to try to set us up if they could, you know what I'm saying? see if your power can deliver you out of this situation. And even going further with these guys that are scoffing, you know what I'm saying, and basically trying to ruin brothers' lives, calling brothers' jobs, doing all that madness. They basically trying to do that to say, hey, see if your God gonna deliver you out of this. It's the same type of spirit, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Verse 16. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our power whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king.
That's right. So they basically telling the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, man, that the power that we serve, man, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, he's going to deliver us out of the fire and ultimately out of your hand. Which hand means it means power or rulership. So basically that's what we're doing today. When we go out on the highways and the byways and teach, or whether we putting up videos on YouTube, man, we're telling our enemy, you know what I'm saying, we're in his kingdom. We're telling him that our power is going to deliver us out of your hand. And we got faith in that, man. But the point that I'm going into, just like in this example, man, we're going to be tested because of that, man. These people, they're going to try to basically put us in a fiery furnace. You know, right. They're going to basically try to put hell on the men of the Lord, basically to try to tempt the Most High. But we got faith that we're going to be delivered, man, out of whatever temptation our enemy brings before us. Because it's all written, man, and the Most High is not a man that he should lie. So we got faith in that power. Go ahead.
Verse 18. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we would not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up.
Hey. He's making it crystal clear. He just broke it down to you. In no way, fashion, or form are we serving your gods. Like, hell no. Do what you got to do, man. Go ahead.
Yep, they loved not their lives unto death, man. They went out fighting for Yahweh Bashim Yahushua to the very last second. They're willing to do that.
That's right.
That's that confession and that testimony, which their word go back to martyrs, I believe.
Martyrs, yep.
Martyrs, which means to be a martyr, okay, to be put to death. All right, verse 19. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated.
And that's what's gonna happen as we go further and further into this thing, man. As basically, can you get Revelations 12 and 12 real quick? Man, that's heavy, bro. That shows that we're in that time again, man. That's why the scripture says in Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, there's nothing new under the sun. This Bible, man, it also says in Romans, the 15th chapter, the things which are written aforetime were written for our learning. So the men of the Lord that had great faith in the deliverance of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, they had to go through certain pitfalls and turmoils, man, for not selling out, for not bowing down to other gods, you know? And it's the same thing with us today. Our preaching the word, man, telling our enemy that he's about to go down while we're in his empire, you know. But Esau is about to turn up the heat. Just like Nebuchadnezzar, he was like, hey, because it said his visage changed because he was so just wrought and angry with the fact that they were in that bold spirit of faith that, hey, nah, we not going to worship your gods, man. He wanted to turn up the heat on them, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's the same thing that we're coming into now with the men of the Lord. As things get tighter and tighter for these elites, like they're scrambling, man. They know that the things, you know, that starting with the apostles of Great Millstone and the men on down the order, that they're teaching is the truth. So as the prophecies coming to pass, man, Esau's getting desperate, and they're going to turn up the heat on the men of the Lord.
That's right.
Basically, everything that they're setting up right now with all these different false doctrines within the nation of Israel is basically to try to set up the men, find an angle to trap up the true men of the Lord, demonize them, label them as terrorists. They're turning up the heat on the real men of the Lord. So we got an example right here, but I'm gonna get that real quick.
It's Revelation chapter 12, and actually I'm starting at verse 10.
Kind.
And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his Mashiach, or his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused him before our power day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony.
That's right. So the accuser of our brethren, man, the so-called white people, mainly you damn Ashkenazi, rat, Karzas, fake Jews, man. You like to set up all of these damn traps for Jake and then cry to the Most High to try to put blame before the Most High's men. But that's not going to work for the elect that the Most High has reserved. There ain't going to be no God found in the mouth of the elect. Deliverance is for the elect through Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. You know what I'm saying? And right now it's starting spiritually with the word of Yahushua. You know what I'm saying? Being taught to the other elect men so that they can wake up and not be ignorant of the devices of our enemy, man. You know?
That's right. Because the elect has already overcame this place.
Exactly.
Man, in the spirit. Now just manifesting, you know? Verse 11, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, which is Yahushua, and by the word of their testimony.
That's right. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, the blood of Yahushua, and by his testimony, which the scripture says in Revelations the 19th chapter, what? That the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. Because that's what the men of the Lord, you know what I'm saying, that's teaching the right doctrine, that's what the main focus is always on, prophecy. And anything else in the Bible that we bring out at all is basically to push the point of prophecy. You know what I'm saying? Because in speaking prophecy, you testifying of Yahushua. And we're faithful witnesses, man. That's why, like going back in ancient times when Yahushua actually was on the earth, his apostles, disciples, and certain other followers, they was getting put to death for being faithful witnesses. For that confession. For that testimony of Yahushua. And it's the same with us, man. Some of us might be put to death for testifying of Yahushua, man, for being in the spirit to get that confession. Being faithful witnesses unto death, man. You know what I'm saying? Even though we got faith that, hey, if we die for Hamashiach, that we going to be raised first. You know? But that's how we overcame, you know what I'm saying, the enemy, basically, you know what I'm saying, by the blood of the Lamb, Yahushua. Through his word, through his testimony, through the prophecy. The scripture says that, lo, I come in the volume of the book, it is written to me. That's talking about Yahushua, who ultimately he's gonna he's set up to deliver us at the latter end out of the hand of our enemy. Go ahead.
Yep. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death.
And they love not their lives to death, man, because the scriptures talk about the nation of Israel. We don't have no continuing city here. We hate our lives here, man. Like everything that we do in our lives, man, is basically just to try to push the will of the Heavenly Father, just so his will can be done, so that great Babylon can be destroyed, so that we can be delivered, so that the kingdom of heaven can be established, man. We're here with Yahushua, like it says in Colossians the 3rd chapter, meaning within just the framework of how this world is operating, because we know that the multitude of this world, they're engulfed in wickedness. They're just single-handedly just caught up in all type of idolatry and false philosophies and dogma. But the men of the Lord, we're holy. We're trying to separate from that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like, why would we bow down to, why would the men of the Lord bow down to your image, man? First off, you're not the true creator of everything. It's Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. All right, that's evident. But also, you fucked our lives up. Excuse my language. You fucked everything up.
Exactly.
Why would we submit ourselves to an asshole like that messed everything up? You the reason I gotta get up at whatever time of day, hitting a damn alarm clock, tired as hell, doing the same monotonous bull crap work every day. Miserable as hell every day, man. Miserable with your family. The reason why you hate your kids. The reason why you perpetuate hatred against our brothers.
That's right.
Why the hell would we submit to you, man? You screwed everything up, nigga. Okay, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time.
Right, and that's backing up what we have just read earlier in Daniel the 3rd chapter, man. The devil, he's having great wrath upon us, the Most High's elect, because he knoweth but he had but a short time. So he's basically, the devil's going to turn up the heat. Esau, they're going to turn up the heat.
Yeah.
And it's all going to start. They're going to come after the men of the Lord, man. Because basically, we're making ourselves separate. We're basically understand that we don't have no continuing city here. So we're not trying to basically worship the image of the beast. And we're not serving these other gods that the so-called white man would want us to have. Whether it be gods in all forms, man. Like the homosexual doctrine, the evolutionary theories. You know what I'm saying? Just this whole transgender agenda. Like these are all just different philosophies and ultimately just different gods that they would, if they could, because the scripture says, if it were possible, they would deceive the Most High's very elect. But the elect, because we're enlightened with the understanding of the truth, we like, hell no, man. We resisting the devil.
That's what made us virgins, chase virgins, man. Untouched by all these other doctrines, you know. So we it's like the brother said, we're not gonna be the elect is set up not to follow after that, man. That's the way it is, you know. We're not gonna worship anything as far like the brother said, the homosexual philosophies you have going on, women, how you keep putting these women up, these whores up. Okay, money, like worshiping yourself, all these things, man.
But it's gonna be a price to pay. Just like we going into the account of Daniel, for standing boldly, for standing stiffly for the word, for the true essence, the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, man. It's going to be a price to pay. Esau, our enemy, he's going to turn up the heat, just like our enemy did against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the Babylonian Empire, man. And then that actually goes into the time of Jacob's trouble, too. Because ultimately, the so-called white man, the Edomites, they want to do what? They want to give everybody the RFID microchip, which we know according to the prophecy in Revelation, the 13th chapter, that's the mark of the beast. So that's going to be a trying time for the men of the Lord, because we're going to have to take a stance. That's more so of how they're trying to get us to bow down to their image, by trying to get the men of the Lord to accept that chip. And if we don't, we're going to get that ultimatum. You're going to be tossed into a fiery furnace. And our trust, our faith is going to have to be elevated at that point, man. Because we can say and talk about what we're going to do, but we don't really know until that time come, man. Yep. We just hope that the Spirit of the Most High is dealing with us to where we're going to have the integrity to be like, no, man, just do what you got to do.
That's when you read 2 16th chapter when it's talking about the martial law. That's when you read the end that says, then shall my men be known. That's the paraphrasing. That's when you're going to know when Esau turns that heat up. All right, when we at the threat of imminent death, you know, like back in the Roman captivity. All right, when you literally, when that guillotine's there, the fire skulls that's what's gonna be known who's a real stand-up guy for this thing, man. And you just gotta pray and hope that the Most High has the Spirit on you to take that L, man, if need be. You know.
Go back to Daniel.
This is back in Daniel, chapter 3, starting verse 20. Let's go to verse 19 again. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visions was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated.
That's right. And it's all through the Spirit of the Lord. It says Nebuchadnezzar, he was full of fury, and the art of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Just like even when the apostles probably started teaching to like around the time of like the YouTube era, like Esau was probably like, you know, but that this thing's really starting to catch fire because of the spirit and the diligence, you know, the apostles and the men on down. And then the fact that we're actually teaching the truth, like it's changing Esau's countenance. He's like, hey, nah, we can't allow this shit to happen. This truth coming out, that's gonna spoil our New World Order agenda. So that's fucking with Esau's countenance, man. He's gonna have wrath against the elect, so that's why he's turning up the heat. He's gonna try to back us into a corner, basically, man. You know? So go ahead.
Yeah, we turn the people from whether they believe or not. The people are starting to bang against the system.
Exactly.
We put in a vibration of casting down this society, man. This rulership, and so that vibration is going out. People may not believe the truth, but people starting to wake up to the bullshit of how this place is being ran, man.
That's right.
They can't put their finger on it, but they know something is wrong, and people are starting to see that.
That's right.
So Esau's gonna have to make a move and shut all that down. That's why you're gonna have the that culling like that brother Ariella wants to go into. He's gonna have to cut the population down. Right? He's gonna have to really enforce that chip, because the chip is here, but it's not mandatory right now. So he's gonna really have to start really pushing that new road and put his foot down, try to get his agenda going.
Exactly.
Verse 20, and he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace.
So, and that shows too that these other nations, these rulers, man, they always feared the men of the Lord, because it says that he had his most mighty men in his army to bind up 3 men. So that shows that they had to be great men, not only just great men of wisdom and faith, but they were probably great men in stature. They just had an overall countenance that brought fear, you know what I'm saying, into the eyes of that ruler, Nebuchadnezzar, you know?
Yeah, because when we first came out of Egypt and when we was one with those 7 heathen nations, Our fame through Yahweh Shemiah Shah was noise around the whole area, man, around the world. You know, so they know our history. They know how Israel got down.
They knew our power,
yeah, our power. How King David, the way he was kicking ass and taking names. So they knew what time it was. You know,
and it never changed, even to the point we're in now. But the thing is, even just like it talks about Pharaoh in ancient Egypt, the Most High hardening his heart. Just like with the so-called white man, it's going to a point. The so-called white man, he's going to actually try to fight against Yahweh Shah and the angels. Even though he knows the truth, he knows the real power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Esau, just because the Most High set him up to be in that stead, he's going to still basically buck up, you know, and try to so-called test the power of the Most High.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Verse 21. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Wow. So it says that furnace, man, it was so hot that it slew the men that was set up to bound Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yeah, the guys that's supposed to be put to death.
The guys that were supposed to be put to death. And that's symbolic in the fact that the ungodly gonna perish, man, but the Most High's righteous, sure no harm touched them. Just like it says in, I believe, Wisdom of Solomon, the 3rd chapter. You know? Go ahead.
Verse 23. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto his counselors, Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered, said unto the king, True, O king. He answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of the Most High.
That's right, man. So, like Nebuchadnezzar, he's astonished. Like, man, how these dudes like get out of that situation? And now I see another form as the Son of the Most High, which that's talking about Yahweh Shah, man. And the scriptures talk about where 2 or more are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst. So even when we out, you know, in the fiery furnace, out teaching the word of Yahweh Shah, man, the Most High through His Son is supping with us right there, because people are astonished, like how they especially when brothers, you know, young in the faith was going out. People will try to trap us up, try to get us arrested, but somehow we would end up on the corners week after week.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out how they still out here
exactly
talking all this.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
They can't figure it out.
They couldn't figure it out.
You know?
But it's all through the will of Yahweh Shah ultimately, man. Which it starts spiritually right now through this word, but we know that we're going to come to a point, just like in this account with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, where the actual deliverance out of that situation going to come. And that's what we're waiting on, man, to ultimately be delivered just completely out of the hand of Esau, you know, when Yahweh Shah come back. Go ahead.
Verse 26. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High Power, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire. And the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them.
That's right. So that fire didn't even come into contact with them. It didn't affect them in no way, man. They were completely delivered out of that situation, man, just for standing stiffly for the name of the Lord, not willing to bow down to Satan, basically. You know what I'm saying?
A quick precept for you.
Go ahead, bro.
Sirach chapter 4 is to the point. Verse 28. Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee.
And that's simple to the cut, man. Strive for the truth unto death. So even though, man, we know it, every time that we go out on them highways and byways, man, it's a chance that we might not make it home. It's a chance that imminent death could face us, man, for standing stiffly for the name and for the righteousness of the truth, man, that's in this Bible. You know what I'm saying? But it says, strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee, man. And if the Lord's for you, who can be against you, like the scriptures say, man? So we're not worried about what people say. We got faith that the Most High going to deliver us through His Son out of any situation, man. You know?
That's right.
Go ahead.
God.
You can just read all the way through to the end, yeah.
God. Verse 28. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who hath sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word, and yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own God.
That's right. So even Nebuchadnezzar right here, man, he seen the power of the Lord. Because basically the act that we doing, making our bodies a living sacrifice, teaching the word, basically standing up for righteousness in an empire that's just fully set against the ways of righteousness, man. Like the Most High, like basically you can see the power in that. The Most High's power, we basically glorify Yahweh Shem Yahushua in doing so.
That's right.
You see the power of the Lord in that, man. That's a powerful thing. You know, even though it seems like a small thing, us teaching and preaching, man, this word has power, man. You know, that's how the Most High's power is being shown through us, man. Through the foolishness of preaching. You know? Go ahead.
Verse 29. Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort.
That's right. So just backing up further, Nebuchadnezzar, he was fully persuaded in his own mind that the power of Israel, man, that's the true living power that can actually deliver. You know what I'm saying? That can actually deliver out of tribulation. You know what I'm saying? And even though the Most High, he ain't showed us an actual physical deliverance yet, we believe in that power, man, just based on the things that were written aforetime. Right. You know? That builds our faith to continue on, man, so that we can actually have a shot at being delivered out of the hell that's coming to this place.
Right.
You know?
Because when you fully submit and confess, you understand, man, that Yahweh Shem Yahushua created everything. What does Isaiah 45:7 say? I created peace, I make evil, I form the light, and I create darkness. Okay, so he created all this situation. Mm-hmm. So why would you not go get on the team of the creator of everything?
Exactly.
To go on his plan and take the route that he set up for his men to extend the judgment that he has set up on the earth.
That's right.
That's just retarded to go any other way, you know?
Okay.
Verse 30, last verse. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon.
That's right, man. So all these kings of ancient, man, which the Lord had it to where Nebuchadnezzar showed them favor, just because the Most High's power was shown through that deliverance out of that fire, you know? So that's why it's important too, man. We ain't trying to basically trim our ways to seek love like these other Israelite groups are doing. Basically trying to say now that all of the Edomites ain't going to be destroyed. Let's not talk about the nation of Esau. Like, they think somehow that they going to actually get love from Esau by taking away from the doctrine and saying these things. No, nigga. Like, in fact, Esau, man, if you look into it, they actually hate coons too. Because a coon, like, why would you respect anybody that hate themselves, basically?
Yeah.
That's what coons are. So Esau looking at them niggas like, nigga, we don't trust you either. You know, so you might as well just stand firm and just stand, be rooted for Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. You know what I'm saying? And allow the Lord just to bless your situation, basically, man. And that's what we do, you know. Not saying that we trying to make it in this empire, but hey, the wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of that time. So if we operate through the faith of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, he gonna direct all our ways in this kingdom, even while Esau's still in power.
That's right.
Until the deliverance actually comes through Yahushua.
That's right.
You know.
You walk basically untouched through this whole fiery trial that we're going through in that walk of life. Now there are gonna be bumps and bruises, but ultimately you gonna walk through good to the end. You're gonna be able to last, man. To where you're not gonna, the Most High don't have to smoke you or put you to death. You know, but if you did get put to death on the righteous side, then you'll have your reward, because you'll be the first ones caught up in the chariot to meet the rest of the elect. You know.
You have another precept? I had a couple. Okay. I got Wisdom of Solomon 3. And yes, 3. You can start at the top.
Okay.
And just read all the way down to 9.
It's Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3, verse 1. But the souls of the righteous are in the hand of the Most High, and there shall no torment touch them.
Right, so that's plain, man. The souls of the righteous, the elect, man, are in the hand of the Most High, man, and there shall no torment touch us, man. The men that are standing stiffly for the name, you know what I'm saying, for the testimony, for the confession of Yahweh Shai, ain't no torment gonna touch them, because everything is predetermined. All of this was set up from the foundation of the world, who the Most High's elect was going to be. And however grim the situation may seem to be for those men, if they were set up to be the Most High's righteous, ain't no harm going to touch them. Go ahead.
Verse 2.